Yo, what is going on, Shuffle Squad? I hope you all are having a fantastic day. I'm doing a little bit something different for you guys this time around. Now, normally, if you're a fan of the channel, you're going to see like deck list videos, deck profiles of lists that are doing quite well in the competitive format throughout different regionals and international championships. However, this video is more towards those newer players or players that are wanting to get into the competitive format but are kind of using the channel as a way to jump in, like a starting point. Looking at these different lists by a lot of our different creators, you might choose a list here or there, or you may not decide what might be best for you due to the price points of a lot of these lists that are doing well. The game could be a little expensive, however, I think I have a fantastic answer for all of you. I think that the League Battle deck with Palkia is one of the best ways to get into the competitive format, and in this video I'm going to explain why I decided to go with this list instead of something like the Mew list, like the Mew League Battle deck, and go into detail on how you can kind of upgrade this so that way if you want to go to your first league challenge or league cup, you at least have some fighting chance of actually getting some game wins. So sit back, relax, we're going to go over the base list, upgrades, and why I think you should choose this one instead of something like the Mew VMAX one. So let's get into it. So one of the main reasons I decided to choose this list is simply due to the longevity of it. Now, I can hear a lot of people saying, oh, well, Mew VMAX is doing so great, but we don't really know the impact of the new Spiritomb card. Spiritomb might actually be very powerful in tandem with something like Path to the Peak, and that could cause a little bit of an issue if you're new to the game and you don't know how to work those routes. However, with the Palkia list, it's a little bit more straightforward, very streamlined, and can really get you understanding the game. Plus, it comes with a lot of amazing staples that a lot of decks could utilize, something like VIP Pass, and if you are into playing a more water-based decks like Palkia, or even in the future something like Chen Pao with Baxcalibur, you will be able to have access to Irida in this list, and I think it has that longevity to it because you have the barrel, you have a Greninja, which goes into a lot of different lists. There's a lot of cards that are currently available to you at $29.99 that can really get you into the game. So I'm going to hop over into PTCGL. We can take a full look at the list, and I'll explain what you probably should get rid of and what you might want to replace it with. Alright everybody, so on the right hand side here, we do have the base list for the Palkia League Battle deck. Now, there are some major changes that need to happen with this list. However, you do get so many amazing staples that it's just hard to not pick up if you are getting into the game. Now, let's just go over the base list. We'll talk about upgrades and get into a game with the base list and get into a game with an upgraded list that shouldn't cost you too much when it comes to actual upgrades. And we'll also get into what you could do with this deck in the future with Paldea Evolved. Now, this deck does come with 3 Palkia V and 2 Palkia VSTAR. It's not a bad lineup. A lot of decks in the future that want to utilize Palkia VSTAR as somewhat of a backup support want to run a 2-2 line, sometimes even a 1-1. So you do have the means to build a lot of future decks. However, this by itself is amazing. For 2 water energy, you're doing subspace well. You're doing 60 damage and then 20 damage for each bench Pokemon in play, meaning that you can max out at 260 damage without any damage modifiers. So that is actually a pretty decent attack for 2 energy, but it is easy for your opponent to play around it if they don't want to bench too many Pokemon. You also have the ability Star Portal, where during your turn you can attach 3 water energy from your discard pile to any of your water Pokemon in play. So that is a really good way to kind of get some of these Pokemon built up. You're able to accelerate these from the discard with your V-Star power and start swinging from there. But that's kind of where the list falls off at this point, because you don't have a lot of great backup attackers. You do have Radiant Greninja, which is a really good attacker in certain instances because you're able to use Moonlight Shuriken, discarding 2 water energy from Greninja, and then you're doing 90 damage to 2 of your opponent's Pokemon. It's a great way to knock out some basic little baby Pokemon on the bench like Comfey's, but Radiant Greninja is also fantastic as a support Pokemon because of concealed cards. You're able to discard an energy from your hand and draw 2 cards. This card alone fits into a lot of different lists and is really good. It sees a ton of play. Now, let's get into the worst option that they could have put in here. I don't know why they wanted Hisui and Basculin in this list. Gather the Crew allows you to search your deck for up to 2 basic Pokemon and put them on your bench and shuffle your deck for 0 energy. It's not a bad attack by any means, but considering that this deck does come with 4 VIP pass, it's not necessary. It's not necessary. However, the other downside is you really don't have much more search. You do have 4 Ultra Ball, but you have to take in consideration that this deck did release before Scarlet and Violet, so no Nest Ball in the deck, but Nest Ball is still quite easy to get and extraordinarily cheap. You do also get a copy of Manaphy, which is a very good card. It's seeing a lot of play. That water veil, or that wave availability, is able to stop your opponent from doing damage to your bench Pokemon, so obviously a very good card. And I think they could have done better with the Bidoof Bibarel line. You do get a 3/3 line, which isn't bad. You get a lot of Bidoof and Bibarel, but it's the wrong Bidoof. Yeah, you want the other Bidoof that stops damage from going onto it. And you have Bibarel here, which is the Industrious Incisors, which is the correct Bibarel, but I think at 3, it clunks up the list just a little bit too much. Yes, it's a fantastic draw supporter by being able to draw until you have 5 in your hand, but honestly, having 3 in the list is a little too much, so there's room for improvement. For instance, getting rid of the Basculin and the Bibarel and all that stuff. Now, when it comes to the actual trainer cards, there's not a lot of misses here, to be honest with you. VIP Pass is a fantastic because if it's your first turn, you can search your deck for 2 basic Pokemon and put them on your bench. If you get 2 of these, you're pretty much filling up your bench, no problem. Now, Trekking Shoes is a fantastic card. However, this deck does come with 4 of them, which is a great number, but I don't think this deck needs to play 4. There are other cards that this deck could totally play that would make a little bit more sense than 4 Trekking Shoes. You could bring this down to maybe 2 or 3. 4 Ultra Ball. 4 Ultra Ball is great in any list, especially if you're something that is a list that wants to evolve into bigger Pokemon that are kind of past 90 HP, kind of leaving them outside of the realms of a level ball. Ultra Ball is fantastic. It's just standard good Pokemon search. So 4 of those, really nice. Now, Echoing Horn is actually really nice in this list as well because you're able to take a basic Pokemon from your opponent's discard pile and put it on their bench. Not only does this synergize very well with Palkia, it could also help you win games because if they do toss something like a Lumineon V, you could put it back onto the bench, boss it out with one of your 3 bosses orders that come with this list, and then knock it out with Palkia VSTAR. So actually a really good card. It's something that I would consider keeping. 2 Energy Search. I think Energy Search isn't the worst thing on the planet. Now, Palkia decks used to run Capacious Bucket, which allowed you to search their deck for 2 Water Energy cards. However, we lost that due to rotation, so Energy Search is the best we got. Honestly, I think this at 2 is perfectly fine. 2 Heavy Ball. Most decks don't want to play 2 Heavy Ball. You usually only want to play 1, so this is one of those cards that you can scrap quite easily. You may not even need to play it at all, but with 2 Heavy Ball, it is another staple card that can go into a lot of other lists. 2 Switch at 2 is fine. I do think that you could possibly, upgrade that to 3 or even go 2 switches and an escape rope. But hey, this is the standard base list and 2 switches is still pretty nice. 2, Lake Acuity. This is where I think the list really kind of drops off when it comes to the trainer cards. Lake Acuity is not that great in Palkia lists, despite the fact that you do have water Pokemon and you take 20 less damage. That 20 less damage can sometimes just be insignificant, especially if your opponent can just bump the stadium. Considering that they're going to be attacking on their turn, it's going to be quite easy to get rid of Lake Acuity, so they're probably not falling for that minus 20. This would be much better replaced with something like a Path to the Peak or even something like Lost City. We already covered Boss's Orders, so we got 3 of those in here, just your standard Gust. Now, this is one of the coolest parts of this list as well. Besides the VIP passes, you get 4 Irida in here, which is an amazing supporter card for water decks. You're able to search your deck for a water Pokemon and an item card, reveal them, put them in your hand, and then shuffle your deck. This is going to be really good in the future, especially if you want to continue playing water with something like Baxcalibur. But Irida at 4 is amazing and not something I would ever change about this list. Clara is questionable. I don't really think you need a Clara in here, but since this is the base list, it is what it is. We could possibly replace Clara with something else. Now we have Melanie at 3. 3 is fine for Melanie in this. I don't think you need 4. It's not really necessary. You could bump it up to 4, but honestly, I think with the 3 Melanie, that's perfectly fine. Roxanne, honestly, Roxanne probably is okay in this. I don't necessarily see why it would be bad, but I also don't think that it's a necessary card in the list either. You could probably play judges or other different type support cards, or even different Pokemon in replacement of Roxanne. But honestly, Roxanne right out of the get-go, probably not bad for a new player. Then you get 3 Choice Belt. Choice Belt is actually a pretty good card, still sees a ton of play. Even in this EX era, there's still plenty of Vs running around, and being able to do 30 more damage is fantastic. This means that if your bench is full and your opponent's bench is full and you're attacking into some V Pokemon, you are able to swing for 290 damage with your Palkia VSTAR. So not bad damage output. And lastly, you get 9 water energy. So that is the base list. We're going to jump into a game with just the base list, make some upgrades, talk about why we made those changes, and then get into a game with the changed list and how much that might actually cost you. Alright guys, here we go into our very, very basic list of Palkia. This is straight out of the box, so no changes whatsoever, but we can talk about changes during this game, so that way you guys can get a little bit of an understanding of why you probably want to make those changes. For instance, Basculin's got to go. I understand that he's a really good, like, maybe starting Pokemon, so that way you can kind of get set up, but in all honesty, you probably don't need it because we do have Nest Ball in the format. We do have a lot of different ways to find Pokemon. We have our VIP passes. It comes with 4 Ultra Ball, but we have to remember that this deck was made intentionally to survive the rotation. Okay, so this is actually not the worst start. We do have ourselves a VIP pass in hand, starting with the Palkia here, so not too shabby. Looks like our opponent is playing some sort of water deck as well. Don't tell me it's a mirror match. That's actually going to be quite funny if it is. If it is a mirror match, that is going to be funny. I am playing on like the casual ladder, so I wouldn't be surprised because the deck is actually kind of fun to play. All right, let's see here. We do get our Mulligan draw, which is another Irida, so we will take it. And a Manaphy start. You know, I'm going to say that we are in the mirror match, which is actually hilarious. Let's start with the trekking shoes. We probably don't want the Roxanne. We probably don't need it because we know they play Barrel and all that. We'll go with a VIP pass. We will get Bidoof and a Greninja. No need to set up another Palkia, I don't think, right now. But we could get lucky and draw into it with concealed cards. Yep, okay, so we do get lucky. Go ahead and get that going. We'll attach for the turn, and we will pass to our opponent. We will just pass it off to them. So yeah, I mean, if this is the mirror match, if you and a friend are picking up these decks, I mean, they're fun. They are fun to play. The League Battle deck for Mew is pretty okay. The only downside is you only get like 2 Genesect and all that stuff, and that's why I'm like shying away from people maybe getting that one. I understand that Mew is extremely good, and I'm not trying to, you know, throw shade at Mew in any way, shape, or form. It's a very, very good deck. It sees a lot of top placements in this format. However, with only 2 Greninja and all that stuff, yeah, you might have to spend, you know, more money. And a lot of people like to buy two League Battle decks and mash them together to make one nice League Battle deck, or one nice deck out of 2, which is around 60 bucks. And you can buy Genesect for cheaper than that and all that stuff. But a lot of the deck is not cards that are seeing a bunch of play right now. Like, I don't think anybody's seeing like Old Cemetery seeing play. So it's like no use there. But with this, almost everything in the deck sees play except for like the Basculin and the Lake Acuity. You could definitely get rid of those cards, no problem, or replace them with something like Nest Ball, which are only like, what? Go to your local game store. I promise you they'll probably give them to you for like a nickel, you know? You definitely don't need to spend a whole lot of money to get yourself Nest Balls. Like, you can really upgrade this deck for like less than 10 bucks. Like, that's what I'll do. The base deck itself is $29.99. And then I'll give myself a metaphorical $10 to make upgrades. So that way, if you go to your LGS, you can go in with 10 bucks and see what you can make a difference in. All right, so there we go. This is now our turn. Let's see here. We do have a boss's orders in hand, which is pretty nice. We also have an Ultra Ball. I kind of want to see if we can knock out that Palkia on the bench. I don't think it's possible. 100. Let me go ahead and grab another Pokemon. We need the Palkia VSTAR. We also need to fill up our bench. So we would do 100, 120, 140, and then we do have that. Okay. It might not be impossible if we can draw 2 basic Pokemon here. We didn't quite get there. We also needed an energy. No, none of it's there. None none of it is there. Well, I guess we didn't need the energy. We have one in there, but that is fine. We'll go ahead and just Irida. This actually helps us set up a Greninja play at some point. So with Irida, I think we'll grab an energy search. And for the Pokemon, we will grab ourselves Manaphy. Manaphy seems fine. We'll go ahead and do that. We will go ahead and energy search for a water energy here. Attached to the Palkia. We can attach the Choice Belt to the other Palkia as well. And then we'll swing for 180 damage. Big numbers, big numbers. And if that was a V, that would have been 210 damage. Not knocking out a lot of basic V Pokemon with 210 damage. You kind of want to get to 220 because some of the better Pokemon are at 220 HP, like Arceus and all that stuff. There's a few V Pokemon that have 210 or less, so something to take into consideration. You know, you might want to fill up your bench. But in this match, it's very easy to manipulate the amount of damage your opponent can do. We'll see here though. We need them to fill up their bench so that way we can get a knockout on this Palkia. Definitely something we want to do. We want to knock out this Palkia, but I don't think they're going to be able to fill up their bench completely. Let's see here. How many Pokemon in play are we going to need in order for us to knock out this Palkia? We've got, if we put one down, that's 160, 180. Then another one would be 120, 100. I'm so bad at math. We've got 100 if we fill up our bench, and then 120, 140, and then we'll have 160 plus 60. No, we would need them to fill almost the whole thing. Because remember, even at a full bench, yeah, we need them to fill it up actually. Because even at a full bench, we only do 260, and thanks to Belt, we do 290. That's the better way to remember, honestly. I don't know why I'm over here struggling to do math and embarrassing myself. But I don't think our opponent really has much, in all honesty. They could Star Portal and swing. They do have 2 in the discard. So really funny that we're just chilling on the casual ladder. And, you know, here it is. We're up against Palkia VSTAR. But it is a good deck. It's something that you should definitely consider if you are getting into the TCG. And then what upgrades you can make. And also what you could do in the future when Paldea Evolve comes out. So we'll see what we're able to pull off here. Okay, so we're definitely getting knocked out by this Palkia for sure. Next turn. Do I want to boss out this Palkia and KO that in hopes that our opponent takes the time to fill up their bench so we can knock out the VSTAR later? Something we could do. We've also saved our Star Portal, so we could do a bit of damage to this Palkia, and then another bit of damage to the other one, and then go in for a huge Greninja KO. That is something that we can 100% do. Let's conceal cards, draw 2 though. Ooh, Echoing Horn is not bad though. Echoing Horn is not bad. We'll go ahead and Trekking Shoes. No, I don't want an Ultra Ball. That is fine. We don't need it. Let's go ahead and Echoing Horn. We'll just, you know, increase the damage output of our Palkia a little bit there. And do I want to knock out that Palkia? Do I want to do it? I think it might be a little bit more beneficial to possibly just put damage on this Palkia. That might be the better way to go about this. It's Trekking Shoes. Nah, we won't take that boss's orders. No need for it. We do have a Lake Acuity. We don't want to put that down though, because it'll also affect our opponent. So we don't want to do that. We don't want to do that. I Melanie to the wrong Palkia though, didn't I? Oops, that's fine. We'll go ahead and attach for the turn to this one, and we will do 250 damage. This is kind of like helping us set up getting KOs on the other Palkia or multiple Pokemon at once we're able to Star Portal onto Greninja. So we're not like dead in the water if we don't get the KO, because Greninja is super good. And because we saw they threw away Manaphy a little early, the only way that they're able to actually get that Manaphy back is through a card like Clara. So I think we're in the clear to actually take 3 prizes next turn if we wanted to. 3 whole prizes. However, if they do decide to evolve this Palkia, we could, if we draw an energy though, we need an energy. So we could do that. Then we could, well, they don't evolve it, so how many energy are currently in the discard? We got ourselves 3. Yes. We're gonna come up with Greninja, protect our V's on the bench. VIP pass does not help us in the least bit. Let's go ahead and Star Portal. We will attach all 3 of these energy onto Greninja. And then we're going to boss out their Greninja, so that way they can't come up with this Palkia and try to take an immediate knockout. And then we will Moonlight Shuriken. We will go ahead and knock out their Palkia VSTAR and their Basculin. So even at just a base out of the box, this is nothing changed. You can still come out clean with some decent strategies to take games, which is really interesting when it comes to a, you know, beginning player's deck. This is literally for the beginning player. So I really like that. Even with just straight out the box, you're able to come up with some pretty intuitive strategies to take games. Something that you would see like on a regional stream with nothing but the box, which is super cool. All right, so Irida's getting them a Basculin. And what else? I saw Basculin, and I don't remember what the other card was. It the VIP or the trekking shoes? It might have been the trekking shoes. Might have been the trekking shoes. Although at this point, I don't think our opponent has much of a win. We are way too far ahead. We've got 2 prizes left. They've got 4. One of their only good attackers is the Palkia VSTAR. And it's not even built up yet. Plus, they still need to find a way to retreat this Greninja. So we'll see. We'll see what they're able to pull off here. Probably not much, if I'm being honest. Probably not much. Now, what we could do next turn as well is we can come up with the Palkia. We can switch into Palkia and Melanie onto it. Ooh, if we find a boss's orders off the top deck, that's a game over for our opponent, though. But what we could end up doing is we can like switch the Greninja with the switch card instead of retreating, keep that energy on him. We don't have access to Star Portal anymore, but we can Melanie onto our Palkia, hope to draw an energy. And if we do, then we can start building up the Greninja on the bench, so that way we can take out another Pokemon like the Palkia. All right, let's go ahead and Melanie onto the Palkia here. No energy, but that's fine. We'll go ahead and trekking shoes. Oh, we do want that boss's orders. We'll hold on to that. We will hold on to that. We will put down Lake Acuity, and we will swing for 180 damage. We will swing for 180 damage. Our opponent's only got 1 more turn, basically. If they put down another basic Pokemon, they're not going to be taking any games. Now, they do need to have a water energy on their Pokemon to actually reduce the 20 damage. And the only Pokemon that they're really going to be able to attach for the turn onto will be their Palkia VSTAR. But if they do draw an energy and put one on here, they will reduce it by 20. So we'll see if we can actually still obtain a knockout this way. Lake Acuity might have actually been the wrong call, but we'll see. We'll see. Even if we only do like the extra, okay, they're benching up Pokemon. They gave us the Bidoof. It is boss's orders time, baby. They've made a very critical mistake by giving us the Beaver. Beaver's about to get destroyed. I don't think Beavers often win in battles with space dragon gods. All right, so 160 damage, no big deal. We're not worried about it because we're going to go ahead and boss out that Bidoof and take the game with the base version of the League Battle deck. Now we're going to head back over to the deck list creator, where I'm going to show you guys some changes that you can make for around less than $10. So let's hop into that and see. Alright guys, so after making a few changes to the list, I spent a grand total of an extra $4.45. So what changes did I make? I added a Lumineon V for consistency. One of the cheapest Lumineons that you can find on the market is around $1.75. I added an extra Palkia VSTAR. These cards are going for about $2.50 right now, for because they're printed to death now, so you can get them quite easily. We added a Suicune V, which are only about $1, and we removed a Bidoof and a Bibarel, so we're at a 2-2 line. We kept Manaphy. Manaphy is very strong. We want to keep that in the list. Now, when it comes to the trainer cards that we changed, we added an escape rope because sometimes your opponent might hide behind a little basic Pokemon, and then you could take out a 2-prize Pokemon easily. That way, it's like a pseudo boss if you could pull it off. We took out a Heavy Ball. We took out a Trekking Shoes, and we took out the Lake Acuity so that way we can add 3 Nest Ball. Nest Balls are like 25 cents a piece. You could probably find them cheaper at your local LGS. Just ask if they have a bulk bin. And then we added 3 Lost City. You don't really need 3 Lost City, but I wanted to add the 3. If anything, you could remove a Lost City and add a path if you want. There's different ways that you can go about this. One card that I would actually recommend is if you do not want to play the 3 Lost City, we can actually just go ahead and make this change now. It should be rather quick because even Drapion is rather cheap and it'll help you in that Mew matchup. So we might as well just add Drapion, remove a Lost City. So there, now the amount total that we've paid in order to upgrade the deck to be a little bit more consistent and more reliable on our main strategy of getting Palkia up as fast as possible with a little bit of backup attackers in a very matchup specific attacker that we might have a struggle against. We are sitting at probably a grand total of about $5, and I gave myself 10. I really wanted to improve the deck, but I also wanted to make sure it was still a cheap way for you new players to actually get into playing a little bit more competitively with a much more sound strategy than what the basic V battle decks have to offer. So let's jump into a game real quick with this and see how the deck has changed. All right, guys, here we go into our upgraded version of the League Battle deck. So as you saw, I mean, yeah, our opponent did brick a little bit, and that does stink, but the deck can set up pretty easily, and that is really nice. It'll help you understand routing, and it'll help you understand sequencing, which is great for a deck right out of the box for players that want to get into playing a little bit more competitively. Okay, well, this is a very bad hand. We got no Pokemon in the hand, so we're going to take ourselves a nice little mulligan. And we're playing on the casual ladder here too because we're kind of expecting new players to bring this to a league and go up against some other new players as well. We're not going to go right up against the #1 biggest list out there because I'm not promising you guys that this deck is going to beat everything, but it is a good entry point for you guys to get into playing the competitive format, and that is not good. We are starting with the fishy fish. We did not want to start with the fish. Luminous Sign is too good to lose out on, unfortunately, and we lost out on it here on turn 1. Lunatone, Soul Rock. Okay, this is a deck. Let's go ahead and start with a Trekking Shoes. We probably don't need Choice Belt. They're probably only playing Lunatone and Soul Rock, and we got ourselves a VIP pass. Love to see it. Let's go ahead and get ourselves a Palkia and a Greninja. Feels pretty good there. We'll go ahead and let's Nest Ball first. We'll Nest Ball to get the Bidoof out, thin the deck a little bit, and hopefully hit some better cards off of our conceal cards here. Let's see what we get. Got ourselves another VIP pass and an Ultra Ball. Might as well use that VIP pass and fill up our bench. We can get Suicune's probably not a good attacker in this matchup, if I'm being 100% honest with you, simply because Suicune is a little bit weaker than a bulkier Palkia V. Let's see, we prized a Palkia VSTAR, to be expected, but it looks like the rest of the list is pretty nice. We do have our Lost Cities, so we're okay. We're not in a bad position, really. We do have Bidoof on the bench. Yeah, we might as well just get the extra Palkia V. From here, we're going to attach to the Lumineon so we can retreat and pass it off to our opponent. We do have an Ultra Ball in hand, thankfully, so we're able to get something like the Palkia if needed. But we can also go get Bibarel. Bibarel is probably a really solid and strong option to grab next turn since we will have draw support that way. Okay, Soul Rock is definitely chilling in the active right now, but if they attach retreat, they are able to get into the Lunatone and then use Sun Energy. So that is something that we have to be very careful of. This deck can actually build up quite easily. It is another very easy to learn entry level type of deck, although it does have some power to it. There can be games where this can be dangerous, but for you new players out there, I want you to really look at the Soul Rock and the Lunatone, and I want you to tell me what you think the right course of action should be for us to maybe get ahead in this game. I won't say it yet, but I want you guys to think. We did discuss it a little bit earlier in our first game, so hopefully you guys can get it right. I want to see you guys thinking and getting you guys into understanding proper routing per se. It's not really routing, it's just kind of like very straightforward on what we probably should do in order to make sure that we can get ahead. Remember, we're only taking a single prize card for each Lunatone we knock out, and they're taking 2 for each V they knock out, so we need to kind of offset the prize trade a little bit. There's a way for us to do it, and I want to see if you guys can figure it out. Alright, so a cycle draw here, actually kind of nice for us because we don't have to worry about getting beat up by this Lunatone. Let's see what we can do, though. Let's see what we can do. Got an S-Ball, kind of useless. We're going to go ahead and get rid of that. Echoing Horn, no, probably don't need it. Oh, we kept it. Derp. Okay, well, that's a little unfortunate because now our draws are probably going to be worse. We do have Boss's Orders in hand. Let's go ahead and incisors for 3. Okay, we got an Irida, which is pretty nice. We'll go ahead and conceal cards to draw 2. We got a Palkia VSTAR. That's exactly what we wanted to see. Let's go ahead and Trekking Shoes again. Roxanne could actually be really nice in this matchup, so we'll keep her. And let's see. Really wanted to get a Melanie this turn, but it doesn't look like we're going to be getting there. Let's go ahead and attach to our Palkia, and we will Irida. Irida's a very nice card. We'll go ahead and grab ourselves a Palkia and a... We don't want the switch. We'll probably get this Trekking Shoes. We do have 2 Lost City in the list, right? We do. That's nice. Okay, so we'll do that. With Trekking Shoes, let's see. Energy Search. We'll take it. We want to get to Lost City as fast as we can. That's kind of like the main thing that we want to do here. We'll go ahead and evolve this Palkia up, and we will pass it off to our opponent. There's a certain routing that we can take, and we want to make sure that we get there, and using Star Portal early is not the right way to go about this. Not the right way to go about this at all. So we need to make sure that we're doing this properly so that way we stand somewhat of a chance in this matchup. Ooh, the Manaphy coming out is a little bit of a bummer, but honestly, probably not the worst thing on the planet. We do have a boss and an Energy Search, so we could just Energy Search, attach, boss out Manaphy, and take a KO. But we know that they have the Recycler in hand, not the Recycler, the Rescue in hand, so they could pick that Manaphy back up if they so please. We are really desperately trying to find Lost City now so that way they don't have access to this Manaphy anymore. That is one of the big things that we're trying to do here. Okay, so they looks like they might actually be able to get an attack off with Moon Kinesis here. Definite possibility, definite possibility. We'll see, we'll see. Okay, so... Yep, okay, so there's the Moon Kinesis definitely popping off this turn. I believe it's going to do 150 damage as well, which is going to be very painful for our poor little fishy. Very, very painful indeed. But I don't think it's the end of the world. I do not think it's the end of the world. We do have a couple of things that we can go through here. We have some draw option with a barrel, thankfully. We have an attach for the turn. We can get rid of this Echoing Horn, and we could boss out that Manaphy, but we really need to find that Lost City. That is one of the most important things that we could do here. Let's see. Our opponent, I think, is just trying to figure out if this is the right call. Or if they can possibly... They are not attacking. Okay. They're choosing not to attack. Okay, Ultra Ball is probably not bad here either. Thin the hand down just a little bit more. Okay, let's Pokestop. Thin the deck out a bit. Please don't throw away a Lost City. No! We've got 1 Lost City left in the deck. We messed up royally. We messed up so bad. Alright, we'll Ultra Ball. A little disgruntled. But hey, we got Spirit, baby. Kimba Barrel, get us what we're looking for. I cannot believe we tossed a Lost City. No, baby, we did not. We did not get there. Well, it's not over yet. We can conceal cards to draw 2 more. Still no Lost City. Wow, I cannot believe we threw away a Lost City. Very, very unfortunate. Let's go ahead and retreat then. We'll go in with Palkia. We know that they have that rescue in hand, so we don't want to get them using that on Manaphy. So we definitely, there's our Lost City. Okay, perfect, perfect. We'll go ahead and just subspace Swell then. Get rid of this Lunatone. See you later, buddy. Yeah, losing that Lost City, not good. Not good at all. But it's not the worst thing on the planet. It's not the worst thing on the planet. There are other things that we could take into consideration. We can still knock out that Manaphy and get rid of it, which will leave our opponent open for a... If you haven't figured it out yet, the answer is a Greninja play. Because they all have 90 HP, we can easily take out 2 Soul Rock or a Lunatone and a Soul Rock, get rid of them, and then put them in the Lost Zone if Lost City stays in play, and get 2 prize cards on top of it, really offsetting the prize trade. So that is kind of our main goal here. We want to be able to offset the prize trade so that way no matter what they do, we are still going to be ahead in prizes. Next turn is the turn that we're going to pull it off. Let's see here. In all honesty, we can give them this Palkia. This Palkia is not doing much for us. We want to keep our attackers as healthy as possible. And right now, this Palkia is not an attacker, so we can get rid of that. Not a big deal to lose this Palkia if they do find a way to get a KO. But I don't think it's possible this turn. I don't think there's a way for them to do it. Definitely next turn, though, because we're going to have to boss out the Manaphy. So they're going to have a huge Lunatone in play for sure. For sure, they're going to have a huge Lunatone in play. We only have 12 cards left in deck as well. That's how well this deck can cycle through the deck. It can just get through most of the deck pretty fast. So you're going to find a lot of the cards that you need pretty easily. Okay, let's go ahead and escape rope. The plan starts now, everybody. The plan really starts now. Here comes Lunatone. We'll bring up Palkia. We will put down the Lost City, and Boss's orders out the Manaphy. And from here, we will subspace Swell, knock out Manaphy. So now Manaphy, not going in the discard, is going to Lost Zone, meaning that their rescue cart or their rescue whatever it is no longer going to be able to grab that Manaphy, meaning that they're not safe from Greninja. Greninja will be able to come in and wreak havoc on these moons and suns. Another Soul Rock coming into play. I'm kind of hoping that my opponent doesn't have a second Manaphy, and I'm also hoping that they don't bump our Lost City, because being able to actually lost zoning to Lunatone is going to be huge for us. Absolutely huge. But see, with the base deck, we would not have been able to do this. That is like the one big thing that we have to remember. The base deck is not capable of actually taking up, clearing out some of these Pokemon. And we did get a switch too, which is nice. So we're chilling. We have 3 in the discard. Definitely do. Let's go ahead and Star Portal. We will boop, boop, and boop. We will switch. Nope, they'll scoop it up because they know that there's no way that they're coming back from that. So yeah, I mean, the upgraded list, pretty good, pretty good. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you're a new player, if you're an experienced player, I can totally understand why you would skip over this video. It makes sense. You probably already know everything that I'm telling you, but here at the Shuffle Squad, we want to make sure that every player has their needs met, and that includes some of you new players that are here watching the content but want to get into competitive. So that's what this video is for, and if you have any questions, please let me know in the comments below. As for future applications of this list, we do have Chien-Pao coming out here in the future with Paldea Evolved. It works really well with Baxcalibur, and you can use Palkia as a backup attacker or even as a support Pokemon with its Star Portal ability. There's a lot of different ways that you can build this list in the future, and Paldea Evolved really furthers it, and I'm going to leave it up to you guys on how you're going to make it work, because that's the fun of the Pokemon TCG, just sitting down with some friends and discovering new strategies so that way you guys can play together and have some fun. But that is going to be it for me. I struggled there. That is going to be it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed, and until next time, stay safe and be kind.
Head on over to atlascollectibles.com and support the Shuffle Squad by buying some of their products. You could get a discount of 6% off of Pokemon TCG booster boxes, so you could grab from a large selection of sealed product, save 6%, or you could save 12% by using code TSS12 on all of their Pokemon TCG singles. Atlas has a large selection and ships worldwide, so be sure to pick up your Pokemon products there. The Shuffle Squad proudly uses Ultimate Guard products. We think that their Cortex and Katana sleeves are absolutely fantastic with to play in tournaments. And of course, they have a wide range of products that are simply fantastic. Whether you're looking for a new binder, playmat, or if you're looking for one of the Sidewinder deck boxes you might have seen one of us play with, be sure to check it out. They have their EU web shop, and it's available on Amazon elsewhere. Use code TSS5 at ptcgostore.com to save 5% off your order of Pokemon TCG live codes. They have a great selection of codes available from all different sets at competitive rates. They get instantly emailed to you, so you can use them right away to get all the cards you need to build that next great deck creation. Again, use code TSS5 to save 5% off at ptcgostore.com. Get coaching from the Shuffle Squad on Metafy. If you want to improve your game on Pokemon TCG, you can absolutely test with the best. We have some of the best players in the world on our team. So whether you want to get coaching from Calvin or our current EUIC champion, Alex Szymanski, or anyone else that's available on Metafy from the Shuffle Squad, pick up some coaching today, become the best player you can be. Have you ever wanted more content from the Shuffle Squad? Well, we do have a Patreon account. You can support the Shuffle Squad directly by pledging towards our content, whether you want to get access to a special discount code from one of our sponsors, or if you want to have access to all of our deck lists, exclusive Pokemon TCG articles, and more. You can even chat with the Shuffle Squad in Discord. So this really does help support the Shuffle Squad getting to more events, and we do have some amazing articles for you to learn more about. Be sure to sign up to play in the Shuffle Squad's late night events. They happen every single Tuesday night at 12 p.m. Eastern and 7 p.m. Eastern. We have one that's geared towards more of an EU time zone and an NA time zone, but anyone's welcome to play. There's an opportunity to win a trip to Japan for the World Championships, so by all means, feel free to participate in these events for free. You could check out any of the links that we have available in the description. Thank you so much for supporting the Shuffle Squad by watching this video. It would mean the world to us if you'd like this video, subscribe to the channel, and maybe even leave a comment. You could also click on this other video from the Shuffle Squad to continuously watch and support us. If you haven't got a chance, check out the description to learn more about our sponsors, and that could also help support the Shuffle Squad. Thanks so much for watching. Have yourself a great one.